honestly, I was young and I thought it wasn't going to be a success. I was probably 20. I was probably 22 at the time. And all of a sudden, we're sitting at the desk and the elevators go up. And the elevators, they opened up straight into reception. And out came like 20 FBI agents. And they
Get the fuck out.
Yeah.
Nathan, welcome to the show, man. We've got Nathan Hearn on today. Fitness consultant. You've done a lot of different stuff in the consulting world. Finally got your citizenship. That's exciting. So
Yep.
I'd like to hear about that. And, we'd initially met, I think, with Tyler talking about, rugby and stuff, kind of connecting on the rugby world. I think that's kind of how we were initially linked up, right?
Yeah, I think Tyler put us in touch, just being rugby fans, I think.
Yeah, living at the guild and stuff, right?
Yeah, been friends for almost a year now.
Speaking of which, before we get going, do you have a Zin on you?
I do.
Oh, perfect. I just ran out, and you need those.
I
No
mean-
shows complete without double dipping Zin sixes.
Are you going to double dip the Zins?
Oh, bro, I always double dip sixes.
I mean, that's
All right,
that's
we
powerful.
are-
That's powerful
That's a
stuff.
power move. We're good to go.
Okay.
So, I'd like to hear more about what you're up to these days in the fitness industry, man. Like, so you're wrapping up your MBA at Duke and consulting. You've done a bunch of different consulting work in the past, but fitness is something you've worked on in the past. You've ran gyms, started gyms in the past, and kind of dipping back into that industry. Like, what's going on?
Yeah. So long story short, at the age of 23, 24, I think it was, I was working in finance in Charlotte, and that's a great story. We can back into that. And that went all sideways. And so I went back to the UK. Didn't know really what I was going to do.
Okay.
And I was young, played rugby in college, always been into the fitness space, and just started my own business. A little warehouse, borrowed money from family and friends, dug into my pockets, and really thought that I knew that I wanted to own a business one day. And but being so young and naive, I didn't think it was going to be a success. So I looked at some different business models and I felt like the warehouse gym space was the lowest risk if I put money in. So if it was, I think I started off with about 30 grand capex injection. If it didn't work, then I could always sell out. I could always get rid of the gym equipment. It's a pretty liquid, industry, the used gym equipment. Versus opening up a restaurant or a coffee shop, you're putting all the money in, and if it doesn't work out, then you've got nothing on the back end. So
Was it more like a CrossFit themed kind of gym, or what was the vibe there?
Yeah, so we started in 2012. When I got back from the States, didn't really know what I was going to do. So I was working in the States for a while, didn't really know what I was going to do. At that point, CrossFit at the time was evolving in the US, but it was brand new in the UK, and the fitness market kind of lags 5-6 years. So we were one of the first CrossFit gyms, and I looked at different franchise models and thought maybe I can do my own thing, but that model worked pretty well because.
So that was in the UK, your first one.
Yeah, that was in the UK.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And you're saying they're a little bit behind in the fitness trends.
Yeah, they tend to be like the US is pretty cutting edge in the fitness space.
Who in the Eurozone is like top? I mean, I'm not saying the UK is not top tier, but who's kind of on the cutting edge in the Eurozone in fitness?
Well, if you go into London, there's
Yeah.
some really good gyms up in London.
Yeah.
Like Rebel One is amazing. Third Space is amazing. I think whenever you go to big metro cities, it's pretty similar. But when you go to secondary, tertiary cities, we're definitely a little bit behind. So I before I left the States, I went around and interviewed a load of people that had gyms, knew that this is probably what I wanted to do. And when I went back to the UK, I actually worked in like a Globo gym in sales. I walked in for the interview, and I had an economics degree in the UK and the States, and I'd just been a trader. And I went in for the interview, and the manager turns around and says, a great guy called Lee, and he's like, I don't really understand. Like, one, you don't need to wear a suit here, and secondly, I don't really understand what's on your resume. But if you wanna throw memberships out the door, then go for it. So I worked there for a while, and then they found out that I was opening up my own gym. So we had a HR conversation, and I didn't work there for much longer. And then I started my own gym. Started off as a tiny little warehouse, and friends and family helped out, and found a business partner. Had a couple of business partners, Cat and Alex. They were phenomenal. And we just built it up. We went from one site to another site. We sold a franchise, and then we went into a huge 8,500 square foot grade 2 listed building. And I always thought that I didn't want to. Honestly, I was young, and I thought it wasn't going to be a success. But 6 years later, we had a thriving community, thriving gym. We backed away from the CrossFit and did our own thing, had our own classes, had coaches, a good team of coaches. So it was a great experience. And then after that, I realized that I had a pretty good vision of where I wanted to take the business, but I didn't really have the implementation skills. So
was it more of a passion project? I mean, you played rugby for quite a bit of time, which got a big fitness culture behind it. Was it just you felt, as opposed to kind of the corporate grind, you felt like it was something you'd prefer to do, or what got you into it?
Necessity, really. So when I graduated with an econ degree, econ and finance, and I came out to the States. I worked for a small hedge fund. Hedge fund. They did some private equity stuff as well. And I traded US derivatives. And one day we're trading. There's only 4 traders. It's a small shop. And one day we're trading, and I was probably 22 at the time. And all of a sudden, we're sitting at the desk, and the elevators go up. And the elevators, they opened up straight into reception. And out came like 20 FBI agents. And they
get the fuck out.
Yeah, and they came into the building, and they stopped us trading, and they shut the whole place down. And it turned out that my boss's boss was stealing client money. So I think he had a sports background, or he played college sport. So a lot of his contacts are in. We had some Panthers players, and I mean, I didn't really know who these guys were. They would, these players would come in and meet the team.
First job.
Yeah, and so long story short, that my boss's boss went to jail for 34 years, and they had people in the bank where they would take client money, they would buy houses. People at Bank of America would overvaluate the houses. It was a whole thing. And so I would put my W-2 with my immigration attorney, and I called up my immigration attorney, and I said, hey, my work here has come to an end. The business has gone under. So I'm just going to start looking around for other jobs. And they said, no, absolutely not. You can't do that. Your work visa is only with this one company. So if you haven't worked there for a couple of months, you're out of status. So you need to leave the States.
Oh, wow.
So I had to pack up my stuff within like 72 hours. And I was young. I was making good money, but I was doing what every young 20-something-year-old do. I'd spend it on booze and all kinds of stupid stuff. And so I had to call my dad up. He had to bail me out, get me a flight home. And I had to go back home and face the music. And so I sat in the UK figuring out, okay, what am I going to do here? And I remember calling up the FBI in Charlotte. And you can just Google it. You just call the FBI.
Charlotte over.
And I called him up a couple of times, and I was like, "Look, I'm trying to get this past me because I got no reference. I can't put this on my resume." And this guy finally answered me and called me back, and he turned around and said, "Look, we're the FBI, so don't call us again. We've got everything we need." And I think my mum was panicking because I was making international calls from home. My mum was worrying, what are you doing calling the FBI up? And I turn around to this guy and say, look, but I got emails that might help. I just need this gone so that I can go and back and work in finance.
We're all reasonable people here.
Yeah,
just clear my name. Clear my name. We're all reasonable.
Exactly. And this guy was just like, look, we're the FBI. We've got everything we need. And I was like, yeah, but I've got some emails. He's like, if you've got emails, we've got emails. Just stop calling.
Just a total dick.
Yeah, so I thought to myself, I'm going to go work for Bank of America or Wells Fargo up in London, and then I'll maybe transfer back out to the States, come back out to Charlotte. And I went for a couple of interviews, and I was honest with them, and they just said, you're a good candidate, but we're not going to take the risk. So then I had to figure out, okay, my career's gone a bit sideways here. What am I going to do?
Yeah, you got to adjust.
Got to adjust.
Make a pivot.
Got to pivot. And so that's when I thought, hey, I'll just start my own business and see where it goes. And once this whole thing's behind me, I'll just go back into finance. But I really enjoyed the entrepreneurship of it all, and
It's fun.
it was really fun. Yeah, it was really fun and really creative, and I mean, you know, opening up your own business and sweat equity. And
What year did you come to the U.S. initially?
I came over in '08, so I did a study abroad program. I sat there in
Great year to come. Great year.
It was a good
economic collapse. Great year to come.
It was a great year, yeah, and it was a great year to graduate as well. So I watched One Tree Hill over one summer and just thought, I'm just going to go here. This is just where I'm going to go. Because back then, like 2008, like 2005 to 2012, the States was the place to be. The music, the TV, like everyone just wanted to be here. So I came over for a study abroad, and that's how I got connected into Charlotte.
Nice.
Yeah.
What were like? So you how old at that point?
I was, when I came over, I just turned 21.
So what was, as a young guy, what did you notice like culturally? I mean, you're in college culture, but what were the big things that you kind of expected and didn't expect adjusting from, you know, the UK to the States?
Everything's extremely convenient. So the fact that you can go to the pharmacy in your car, you go to drive-thrus in your car, you can do banking from your car. Everything was convenient. I mean, I joined a fraternity because I wanted to make a load of friends, and it was one of the best things I ever did. I've still got some good friends from there. And I just couldn't understand that people would just pick up food for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, you know, and it would just get delivered. And I couldn't get over the size of the cars and the convenience of everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also in the States, it still feels like the Wild West. You know, the UK, or especially where I'm from,
Very regulated.
very regulated, very. I mean, it just doesn't change. I feel like it's like where I'm from. It's like the Shire. There's a church there that was built in the year 200, and it still stands, and the roads haven't changed. And so when I first got here, I couldn't believe the expansion of being somewhere like Charlotte.
Yeah.
Where the airport is constantly under construction, roads are constantly being built, apartments are being thrown up.
What did you play rugby when you came here too? Because you grew up playing rugby in the UK.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, so I played for the college for a year, and then I played for Charlotte, a good men's team.
Were you D2, D1 there?
They were D2. They were in Super League, but then Super League collapsed, and so they went into D2. It was a D1 or D2.
What did you notice about because I played rugby for about 7 years. What did you notice about whenever we play in tournaments, I used to play in Ruggerfest once in a while, and had done some, other competitive men's clubs and stuff. The Europeans were always so much better tactically and understood the game better, like on a whole nother level. Like, what did you notice about, were they playing it like more, were the Americans playing it more heavy hitting and not knowing the game as much, or like how was the game different?
Heavy hitting and stronger.
Yeah,
I remember lining up. We went down.
But their lineouts aren't as sophisticated and stuff. Their tactical understanding of the game's not as good, right?
No, because it's not the same experience. But
corn-fed down here.
Corn-fed
Boys hit hard.
Corn-fed, yeah. I played my first game down in Atlanta, and I was playing 12. There was another guy that was like 5'11", like 200 pounds ish, and I flew at him because I was trying to I was trying to impress the coach, and it was like hitting a brick wall. And he had like this big beard. wasn't that big. And after the game, I grabbed a beer with him. Like, what do you do for training? And he's just like, oh, farmer, just farmer boy. And it was like hitting a wall. So I think athletically, the guys here are far superior. The level that I played. but tactically they're only reading one phase ahead. But yeah, but I loved it. It was really good. Met a load of people, met a load of friends. Charlotte's a great club, great environment. So then I played there. Then I went back to the UK, had the businesses in the UK, and then I think it was 2018.
So this is right when CrossFit's like making its way on the scene.
That's a word I haven't heard.
Yeah, I mean, CrossFit was hot for a while. I remember when I was in college, I'd go to a CrossFit gym a bunch.
Yeah.
I was in the military at that point.
They don't
Played
do
rugby, and
pull-ups
it was a oh man, there was a whole culture. There was like a whole cult culture behind CrossFit at that point. It was hot.
I could do 20 real pull-ups. I could probably do 1,000 of those kip-ups.
What
kip-ups?
Yeah, I'm so out of shape now too, man. What what did you notice like trend wise from then to now? I mean, you're back, consulting in fitness, working with some pretty legit gyms now. Like, what are you noticing? Where are the trends going now? Like, what's the next hot thing?
I think that people are still working from home a lot, and so the gym used to be a necessity. I think people used to go to the office. They used to interact with people. Then they would hit the gym on the way home, and then they would go home and relax. But I feel like now the gym is a third space. It's a place that people go to network. It's a place that people go to meet people. I mean, it's pretty difficult just staring at a laptop for 8 hours a day by yourself sitting at home.
100%, yeah.
So what does that mean for the fitness space?
You're short on Peloton.
Well, yeah, I'm very short on Peloton. Correct, yeah. And I feel like now like most things, the fitness space is becoming more and more it's becoming more bougie. It's becoming more
like the Equinox kind of model and stuff.
It's becoming more premium, and with the rise of Instagram as well, it's almost like the bar scene. It's people want to be seen at the right places and training with the right place. I mean, coaches now are mini celebrities, especially in this town. Good coaches are hard to come by, and they are mini celebrities that demand a lot of.
I agree. Colorado, I moved here from Colorado about 3 years ago. Colorado's a huge health and fitness state.
Yeah.
I think probably the biggest health and fitness scene in the country, and knew a couple, kind of premium gym owners that were kind of hot spots, Viking Power and all those guys. And I totally agree with what you're saying and the kind of evolution of that. And I mean, I guess that ties into another question I got in regards to like men's health. Ryan, pull up the statistics on the suicide rates for young men right now, if you could pull up some of that stuff. But like you look at the overdose rates, over 100,000 people are ODing, a lot of young men right now on, anything from fentanyl to cocaine cut with fentanyl and whatever. A lot of ODs, a lot of suicides. It's like the number one way these young guys are, croaking. There's a lot of despair with some of the young guys. And, I think you can see the kind of sociological ramifications with this whole new masculinity movement, the Andrew Tates and all these kind of, masculinity, good or bad thought leaders in the space. It's kind of a hot topic right now. Do you think that's influencing the health stuff at all? Is there any positive stuff going on to kind of change how?
14 per 100,000.
14 per 100,000. Yeah. How much is that up?
Went up 20%, it said, from like 2020. But, the last few years have been a bit of an outlier in terms of, shall we say, externalities.
I mean, during COVID, I didn't know anyone that died of COVID. I had a couple friends take their lives in OD during COVID. I mean, it was during that period, that was the number one way I knew people that passed away, or a lot of people relapsed and had issues and stuff. So like, how do you see the health and fitness industry kind of helping these younger guys out, giving them some, because and when I say health and fitness, I don't just mean physical fitness. I mean mental health, just living a healthy lifestyle. What kind of solutions and trends and problems are you seeing in that?
Yeah,
space?
I mean that's a big pivot and a big question. So I think that, I can only speak for men. I think men need to be in a community, and it doesn't need to be with other men. I just feel like men need to be in a community. I mean, I
agree.
Isn't it? If you're incarcerated, the worst thing you can do is be in solitary confinement for 30 days.
Yeah.
And here people were put in solitary confinement for a year or two. And I think that it plays a big impact for a lot of men. I found it weird personally going from being in a rugby team and having that shared goal between you, training together, being with your friends, being with your mates, to I remember playing my last game for the university, and on the Monday I walked into the gym and didn't know what to do. What do I do now? I just put headphones on and bench press by myself. It's a huge shift to going from training with men, being around men, being in that community of men, to just being by yourself. And I feel like now people are still working from home by themselves, but they're looking to go and train with other people and being around people. So you definitely see a lot more, I definitely see a lot more men in group fitness, which I don't think used to be the case. I think men used to just stay to free weights by themselves. But I think now those barriers are down and they do a lot more group fitness together. I just think that if you lock men away by themselves, and you don't give them an outlet, then I feel like, maybe, and it's just conjecture, but maybe that's why we're getting the.
I think you're spot on with that, and you look at the veteran suicide rates too. I mean, this is speculation, but I commissioned when I was younger and spent a little time, dabbled as the National Guard and stuff, and did research for DoD and stuff. And you look at the veteran suicide rates; these guys go from a very structured, community-based thing, and they're just kind of on their own. They got to figure it out. Go from that's all they know from their youth to doing something completely different and figuring it out for themselves, where everything's very structured. There's community, there's common goals. So I think that totally makes sense. People are communal creatures at the end of the day, men and women. We're not meant to sit behind computers all day. It's not healthy.
Yeah, I mean, some people love it. Some people can do it. And, I got friends that still work in corporate and they sit behind a laptop for 8 hours and they really enjoy that because it gives them the freedom to do what they want to do outside of work. And it's just the price they pay for that kind of freedom. So I think that there is a cohort that it suits, but when you force people to sit at their laptops for 8 hours a day, it can get a little bit difficult. So going back to health and fitness, I see that there's more of a change, and I think one of the reasons why products like CrossFit have faltered outside of the business metrics of it, and we can talk about that, but outside of the business metrics of it, the fitness market is becoming a little bit more sustainable. So people are now not just trying to train as hard as possible. You go back 10 years and people would join these Spartan boot camps and 6-week challenges and go to CrossFit and beat themselves up thinking that more is better. And the reality is better is better, and doing something more sustainable that you enjoy. I mean, look, the best fitness program is something that you enjoy that you're going to go back to. So I think the people have realized that just beating yourself up and having that feeling that you just killed yourself for an hour, it's not going to lead to long-term fitness improvement. And there's only so long that you can get that adrenaline hit of feeling like you just pummeled yourself into the floor. It's also more difficult for like bigger athletic guys as well. So if you were to jump on a bike and go as hard as you can for 5 minutes, it's a very different output to somebody just starting their fitness program. It's gonna tear you up a lot more because you're a big guy, you got a lot of power, you can generate a lot of power. So the next day you're gonna feel it a lot more. So I think that people are moving to a more sustainable model. There's a lot more push into recovery as well. You see infrared saunas, cold plunges, mindfulness, healthy diets around things. I mean, look, we hit the market at the same time that the paleo diet hit. So people are cutting carbs and at the same time pushing themselves as hard as they can, and people wondered why they're getting injured. So the market's evolved for the better, and I think it's good as well. Like there used to be more feminine products like yoga that now have more men in, and there used to be more masculine environments like weight training that you're seeing women in. So I think that's a really good thing as well.
I might be off on this, but like you're the expert. So, it seems like a lot of these women just want to hit the cardio really hard and cut calories, but it's like I mean, if you want to be like a bikini model or something, those girls are doing squats and they're actually lifting weights, right?
Yeah.
100%, right? I mean, it's like, I don't know why there's been this connotation that lifting is going to make these girls look like dudes, but it's like, you know, the girls that are doing like bodybuilding competitions that look like they have that masculine look, I mean, they're generally on gear and stuff. That's not a natural.
I mean, the amount of work, the driver for men, the driver for men and women, like the amount of work they can do is very different. So men can drive much deeper into their nervous system in one go. So they can generate a lot more power.
Yeah.
And the way that you program and train men and women are different as well. So women can typically, if you give a man like a 1 rep max squat and a woman a 1 rep max squat, then take them down to 80% and have them rep out, the women will get way more reps out because they don't have the ability to drive deep into the nervous system for that 1 RM. Men can, but women can bounce out of the nervous system quicker. And so the recovery is different, the programming's different, the training's different. So without getting too technical on it, I would just say that women that are quote unquote big, that do a lot of weight training, the amount of work they have to do is unbelievable.
Really?
Yeah, it's unbelievable, especially when they're doing explosive work like snatches, power cleans, that kind of work. It takes a lot, it takes a lot to have their nervous system fire that way. Yeah.
Interesting. So you just got your citizenship like a couple weeks ago, officially. You get your passport and stuff, right?
I did, yeah. So let's not talk about fitness. Yeah, so it's been a long journey. So I started off with...
Welcome.
Thank you. I started
welcome to America.
Appreciate it. Yeah, I started off with a student visa back in 2008, and my passport is just in the mail. So I got a notification yesterday that it's been shipped out. So it's pretty exciting. It's something that I always wanted to do. I don't know if I feel American. I've probably paid enough taxes to be American now. Ironically, being a Brit, it was taxation without representation for a decade. But so I had to go up to Charlotte for my oath ceremony, which, by the way, everyone should go. It's 60 people in a room. You all take the oath together. You meet people from all over the world. I was chatting to one woman from the Middle East, and when she became an American in that moment, her kids became American. And she said that she's so excited because it's the first time that any female in her family gets to go to school. Like not college, just have education. So it really puts into perspective how thankful people are to get their citizenship. But yeah, I drove up there and I was kind of listening to country music, and it was okay, you know. The sun's coming up, and it's, you know, you done that 77 drive up there, oath ceremony, got my little American flag, and on the way down I put Chris Stapleton on, and it slapped.
It just hit different.
It hit different.
You go buy a fucking gun on the way back.
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. Yeah, my first national anthem as an American was at the rodeo.
Oh yeah, when we were at the rodeo.
Yeah.
That was your first national anthem as an American?
Had that cowboy hat.
That was hardcore.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I felt good about it, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. I felt a bit
awesome.
emotional.
Well, you took the hat off. You got to take the hats off.
Yeah, I took my hat off.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, it was pretty emotional.
It's a British cowboy over here.
Yeah. I mean, do you remember when we were out in Aspen, we went
Yeah.
to that rodeo, and I tried to dress up as a cowboy, and a cowboy just came over and was like,
You're a concrete cowboy.
"You're a concrete cowboy, boy."
You didn't hear your accent before that. He was like, what the fuck?
yeah, definitely cultural appropriation there.
Yeah.
So finally got my citizenship. Really excited about it. So I got 2 passports. I can hold 2.
Well, now that you're American, what's your least favorite American accent?
Boston.
Oh,
Ooh.
I agree. Terrible accents.
Yeah.
The girls talk very crude there too. They're just like very, I don't know. I'm not into it. Not my jam.
And
Is it because of all the Irish there?
Hey, you careful about the Irish.
But the southern draw accent down here sometimes sounds English to me. I've been here long enough that I can't. Somebody talk to me in a really southern accent, and it'll sound. Are they British? I'm not too sure here.
Yeah, no, I love the nice southern drawl. It's awesome.
But I think my accent is slipping as well. That's the problem.
Yeah, no, it'll change with time the longer you're here.
I'm starting to drop my T's. Yeah.
Is there one you can't understand? For instance, like an American probably couldn't understand the Liverpool accent.
Like deep south, like down in Louisiana, I struggle.
Cajun.
And I'm starting to be able to tell the different dialects. But, I mean, it's fun. It's so diverse here. I mean, I know it's diverse in the UK, and I know there's different, but the culture is very deep and narrow. So on Christmas Day, everyone's doing the same thing. Or the Wimbledon final, everyone's doing the same thing. The culture, and that's what's great about the culture. It's very, there's a big expectation. One of the funniest differences is, in the UK, first of all, you never sit in the fast lane, ever. You only go in the fast lane if you're passing. And then straight away you'll get back over. Very disciplined, very English, like everyone understands the rules. But if I do want to pass someone, so if I'm at T-junction and somebody lets me out, they'll flash me to say that I can go out. Then I'll say thank you. Then they say thank you for saying thank you. They'll put a finger up to say thank you for saying thank you. It's very British. And if they flash me and I just go out and I don't say thank you, they still say thank you. But that thank you isn't a thank you. That thank you is like a sarcastic, oh, go fuck yourself. You didn't say thank you.
Yeah.
Whereas in America, people just pull out. They don't, like, if they indicate, you're lucky.
That's so true.
And so coming here, the whole, like, people are just out for themselves is very difficult to adapt to. Very difficult to adapt to. But
I feel like this translates to your phone calls to the FBI.
it does. I mean, looking back on that.
An American would never call the FBI.
Could you just imagine a 22-year-old kid from Sussex calling up the FBI?
I just need a job recommendation.
Yeah, that's what happened. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then after anyway, yeah, we're kind of.
So how long you been in Charleston now?
So I've been in Charleston for 2 years. I was in Charlotte for a while. I was working in corporate. So after the UK, I realized that I definitely had weaknesses as a business owner. Part of it was just project management. I was trying to expand my own business and just didn't really understand how to manage that and the implementation of it all as well.
Yeah.
And some of the leadership skills. I was young and didn't really know how to lead people. So I came over to the States, worked in corporate, worked in pharma for a big, one of the biggest companies in the States, and worked as a project manager, then portfolio manager, and then worked on the strategy side for drug manufacturers. Never really with the intent of staying there, but just with the intent of learning through somebody else's payroll, I guess, and not making mistakes off my own. And I decided to come down to Charleston because I went to Duke. I'm just finishing out Duke, doing an MBA there, and I'm there about once a month. So it's just about close enough that I can get there. But I wanted to be in Charleston, it's near the beach. It's pretty English down here. I mean, we built the place, so I feel like I'm at home sometimes.
Shots fired. The Fort Sumter boys, I'll have something to say about that, I guess.
Yeah.
So they're still alive.
So it feels kind of like home down here. I've been here for 2 years, and I'll probably do another year down here.
Yeah. What are you noticing? Like, what are you liking about it? And what's unique about Charleston? I mean, it's kind of it's the fifth biggest destination city to move to right now. It's a pretty smaller city. So, like, what do you think the appeal is? What are the ups and downs?
Well,
like,
it's not just Charleston. With South Carolina, when you see everyone's moving into South Carolina, where else are you going to move in South Carolina? It's pretty much only Charleston.
yeah.
I mean, I know that a lot of people are moving to Columbia and traveling up to Charlotte still, but it's pretty much predominantly here. So it's growing really quick. The roads are wild. I had to get rid of the sports car. I had to get a British Defender.
It's a nice way to put it.
Yeah.
Nice way to put it, wild.
They are wild. It floods all the time. But it's a slower pace of life. I feel like people move down here because they seek a lifestyle and they figure out work around it.
Yeah, 100%.
And so when you meet people, everyone's here because they love the city and they love whatever Charleston has to offer them. So sometimes it's because of the windsurfing or surfing or the nightlife. Fitness community is pretty big down here. So I've really enjoyed my time here. The food is phenomenal. I like the fact that you can walk everywhere. I mean, coming out of Europe, it's nice just to be able to just walk and not have to jump in a car to get anywhere. I don't think I could live in the suburbs, not yet anyway. So I like it. What do you like about it?
The lifestyle. I mean, I was a COVID mover, so I
Yeah.
was running a political nonprofit, media nonprofit in Denver, and Denver's just been in decline for about 10 years. I mean, part of what we were trying to do is try and educate people to fight some of that decline. But when they legalized pot, they're the first guys to do it. It just brought the wrong crowd out. Serious crime on the increase. Just standard of living, like getting up to too many people, getting up to the mountains is a lot more of a production now. The homelessness crisis is almost as bad as California at this point. Very radical. And during COVID, I was like, I just can't handle this. I'm going to a red state. And looked at Montana and Idaho first, and didn't have quite enough going on. But I'd worked in Columbia for a bit in my mid-20s. I'd come down to Charleston and loved it. And I kind of impulsively moved here for the lifestyle. I was like, I'll just figure out work after that, kind of exactly what you're saying. And I love it, man. I think it's a clean city. There's, right now with where we're at politically, there's not a lot of clean cities where you're not dealing with crazy homelessness and crime. It's very clean, efficient, nice city. There's good food. People are very friendly, chill pace of life. It's beautiful. The architecture is one of the things I love about it, the historical architecture, I think, and the weather is awesome. It's not like Florida where you're dealing with 4 months that are brutal. It's really only a month and a half that are too hot.
Yep. Yeah.
So
agree.
you actually get somewhat of seasons for the Southeast. I love it. I'm here to stay.
And even when it's hot, you can still cool down because the beach is 15 minutes away.
Yeah, no, it's great. I love it.
Yeah. And I mean, the food is phenomenal down here.
Yeah.
I didn't really understand that before coming down here.
Well, the aesthetic too, you know what I mean? Like just all those old buildings and stuff. There's not a lot of high rises. It's a beautiful aesthetic. You feel like you're in a European city almost.
Yeah, I think that the States does. If I had to work in a huge city, I'll go back to London tomorrow. I've got family and friends there. It's a phenomenal city. If I had to work in a huge city, that's where I'll go. The States does a really good job of these second and third tier cities. They're clean. Like Dallas is great. Austin's great. Charlotte's great. But they are quite cookie cutter and sterile. They're quite similar. I mean, Austin's still got a lot of it. I mean, I love Austin.
Austin's great. I got a brother there. It's fantastic.
I had a close friend that lived in Dallas, and he moved to Charlotte. And the building is not only by the same owners, but it's the same building,
Yeah, I
the
agree.
same floor plans. So I like Charleston because it's got so much character.
It's got tons of character. I mean, it's a really unique city. A really unique city. I agree with the cookie cutter. The stuff that's too new, it's just, same kind of
Charlotte's
chains
soulless.
and stuff. Yeah.
Charlotte is soulless.
Oh, shots fired.
It's so funny. Everyone here hates Charlotte.
Yeah.
But in Charlotte, nobody cares. You
No,
you go back
ooh.
up to Charlotte, and I was there last weekend.
It's because they don't keep it that way, though. Let's keep it that way.
Well,
Yeah.
they're worried about their 9 to 5. Down here, we hardly work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
Yeah, it's true. Like you get to Friday on here, everyone's out early and they're getting on the water or getting on the town, or whatever. I mean, it's people take their weekends here, which is nice.
Well, and that's part of the downside, though. It's quite hard to meet.
The ambitious kind of hustle culture people.
Yeah,
No,
the
that
ambitious-
is.
Yeah,
I mean, we had.
The climate doesn't allow it.
I was so blessed to get an opportunity to get Ryan on board with this project. When he was getting out of law school, because he was looking at education prior to this, and I'll tell you, we were trying to get this project going 2 years ago, and getting talent down here is really difficult.
yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah, it can be. That's the one, but that might change though, because I hope it doesn't change like where they're building high rises and they pimp this place out and it just sucks. I mean, I've heard some of the people that are from here are kind of disappointed where things are heading, but there's a lot of money moving in here. I think it's the last couple of years, $3 billion in income has moved here. It's going to
wow.
radically change the standard of living in the city and the business culture that's here, right?
Yeah, and you got a lot of restaurants that are moving down from New York as well.
Yeah, no, the food and bev scene is going to get a lot cooler. I think retail is going to get a lot cooler. There's going to be a lot of interesting stuff. I hope that they don't. The one thing that happened in Denver that I hope doesn't happen here is the people. I hope people come here because they want to be in Charleston. They want to be part of it, not that they want to change it. right? Because the big problem that we've had in a lot of these Western cities where we've had California exit is these fucking people from LA come in and they want to switch it. They want to make it like LA, or they come in from New York and they want to make it like New York. Wouldn't it be cool if we could, import our culture and completely ignore the cool culture that make this place special? And all of a sudden there's, tent cities and just it's a mess. So I'm hoping that people come here respecting the culture and wanting it to be the place that it is.
But I feel like,
Things always change. I'm not saying they don't, but
yeah, I came down here and I went on some tours of Charleston because I wanted to understand the history of it all. And I actually came down here on my study abroad back in '08, and I went back to the UK and met up with my granddad. And he worked the Merchant Navy years ago, in like the 50s, I think the 50s or 60s. And like the Merchant Navy is basically
like Merchant Marines.
So they're only importing and exporting.
Yeah, we've got a similar Merchant Marines.
So he would go up to Russia, collect whiskey, come to the States, swap it for denim, go out, and even then, like the world was pretty uncharted. And he's got some fun. He had some funny stories. But anyway, I went back to the UK and I said, "Oh, I went down to this city called Charleston." He's like, "Oh yeah, I know Charleston. I know King Street." So the fact that he had been in Henry's,
really,
yeah, 60 years
awesome.
ago in
That's
exactly the
awesome.
same bar is hilarious.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he came through the main port, the port down on Market Street.
Yeah.
So that's where the ships used to come in, and he used to go.
Went to
through
Henry's?
customs. He went to Henry's.
Shout out to Henry's. I love that place. Man.
Yeah,
That's
he
such a cool
went to
bar.
exactly the same bars.
Yeah.
He had some stories. The Merchant Navy came in, and they went out drinking one day, and he apparently met a load of Americans, and these Americans were like, "Oh, we can outdrink you. We can outdrink you." And we're talking about the British Merchant Navy back then.
Oh, those boys can drink.
They can drink.
They can drink.
So they took these Americans out, and they went shot for shot, and the guy passed out, and they took him to a tattoo parlor.
And tattooed him?
They paid the guy to tattoo the Union Jack on his chest, and they just left him there.
Yeah, you don't fuck with those British sailors, man.
Yeah. So I think, that kind of so Charleston's great. It's got a load of history, and
Where, if you were going to, you're an entrepreneurial guy, you're an ambitious guy. If you're going to be in another city post Charleston that's more career focused, where would you want to be? Miami.
I love it because it's the best and worst of America.
Yes, I
And it's got
understand
that-
what you're saying.
It's got that Latin influence, and I love the fact that
People want to get rich there too. They're hungry and they want to work hard.
and you have no idea if people are renting a Lambo, own a Lambo.
Oh,
I feel like it might be the 60s and 70s in New York. It's so insanely hustle culture. The food is amazing. I keep on talking about food, but the food down in Miami is better than Charleston. It's phenomenal. Great city.
it's Wild West. It is very people are wanting to make something of themselves, and you don't know what. There's a lot of. It's like the crazy.
Yeah.
You do not. It's hard to read people. There's a lot of hustlers down there. It's a very interesting spot.
I feel like it's professionalizing. You got more and more big companies going down there.
Well, you look at New York. These conventional cities where people go to make money are falling apart right now because their policies. So there's a lot of exit from New York, from LA, from Chicago right now into places like Miami where the states are being run properly and there's tax incentives and it's easier to run a business and stuff. So I think that things are almost going to get turned on their head. Obviously, there's established stuff in finance. It's always going to be New York. It's always going to be the hub for that. But in regards to entrepreneurial stuff, what's the next thing? You look at even Silicon Valley's been on such a tear for such a long time. I'm sure the tech stuff's going to continue to blow up, but San Francisco sucks to live in right now. It's incredibly expensive. It's dirty. It's dangerous. What's the next thing?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Is I don't think the next thing is going to be in these established hubs. It's going to be somewhere completely different.
You don't think so?
No, it's going to be somewhere new.
A lot of
I don't
tech
know what
went
it
to
is
Miami,
yet.
didn't they?
Yeah, but I'm just saying, I'm not talking about tech specifically. I'm saying anytime you have a lot of money and ambitious people with less regulation, good policy in areas, something good's going to happen there, right? So I think it could be in some of these places you don't expect where the next boom's going to be.
And you think San Francisco used to be that?
Well, it was. You have, Palo Alto. You have all this research stuff at Stanford and stuff, right? So it's always been tech's been there for a long time. I'm not saying that tech's not going to continue to be there, but the amount of wealth concentration that's happened in Silicon Valley and DC over the last 15 years is crazy. And that's because government expansion, right? The government's grown a lot under these wars. So a lot of people are making money in scummy ways in Washington. And there's been a ton of money and power and influence peddled in tech that kind of ties into DC with the tech surveillance and influence in culture and stuff. So they have a ton of influence. The data collection stuff's been huge for influencing politics, but just the amount of wealth that's been created in Silicon Valley is really a feat in world history.
So I heard that in the 10-mile radius of San Francisco Airport, more wealth has been created in the Second World War, since the Second World War, in that 10-mile radius than the entirety of Europe. That's how much money's been made. Because you got to realize, you go to London, people are using their iPhone, sitting on Google, using Amazon. Is completely dominated by US tech. I mean, there's no UK Yahoo. There's no UK Amazon. It's completely dominated by US
I'm not putting down that their influence is going anywhere. But the other thing that I personally don't like is, Berkeley, who's influencing who's getting those jobs, who's getting investment, who's getting grants, and who's going to be the next thing. It's the Berkeley culture. It's the Stanford culture. Right, which are the most left-leaning. Musk talked about this. The most hard left-leaning people in America are in Silicon Valley because of the educational institutions and culture there, right? So part of the reason you've seen such a shift to this kind of fringy leftist ideologies in the States is because of the amount of wealth and power and data controlled by this kind of similar mentality. And the attacks on Musk, it's like, he's not a hard right guy. He's just shifted things a little bit moderately compared to where those guys are, and that's why it seems like there's been a big shift with the X stuff.
Yes. So as an outsider that doesn't have any skin in the game,
I'm not trying to get political, my bad.
No, you're good. But I think as an outsider who doesn't have any skin in the game, I find it fascinating how quick America swings on a pendulum.
Yeah.
And I know it's always been that way, and I think it will always be that way. So the UK, the political parties are pretty narrow in the Overton window.
Yeah.
I just think that's just part of the American.
It's still figuring itself out. It's a young country with a lot of wealth and influence, right? It's still.
And it's so diverse in idea and people.
Yeah.
I mean, you got half the world's immigrants come to this country. Everyone is still trying to come in here. There's 100 million immigrants, and people talk about which demographic makes the most money, and people always comparing it to one certain demographic. The demographic that makes the most money is immigrants. They come here, they work really hard, they love being here. But
that's what I was getting at with the Miami thing is the hunger and the drive of these people and a lot of wealth and good policy in Florida. I mean, I don't know how that plays out. I'm not comparing it to what Silicon Valley is capable of, but there's going to be interesting stuff happening in Miami and some of these places over the next 15 years. Mark my words.
Yeah, I agree. I love it down there. I think
that's great.
I think that the fashion is like something. It's so Miami.
Fun. Yeah, it's crazy, dude.
It's just so Miami as well. Yeah. It's so different. You get a lot of these.
There's a lot of Europeans and Latins down there too.
Yeah.
It's very, very diverse city. So it's like a lot of hungry, interesting people down there.
You go to
very worldly people.
Yeah, you go to a lot of these like new cities like Charlotte. Everyone is dressed exactly the same. I mean, all the finance bros are wearing the exact same stuff. I like that about Charleston. It
has its own aesthetic.
It has its own aesthetic, and you can kind of wear what you want and be who you want, and nobody really cares.
Yeah.
I find it weird that, and again, I'm just an outsider, but I find it weird that you go up to New York and you tell people that you live in Charleston. People think that Charleston's so backwards and still living in the 1800s. But down here, there's people all across the political spectrum. There's people that look completely different. There's people that are from completely different places. And you can stand on King Street and you can see a skateboarder, a like slammed down Camaro with lights coming out the bottom, a Ferrari, a truck, a horse-drawn carriage. There's us bowling around in my golf cart. Just that in itself just encapsulates Charleston to me. Just look down the street and see how diverse people are just commuting back and forth up and down King Street, compared to somewhere like New York.
Yeah. So pivoting back, the fitness industry stuff, what are your big goals? You got 5 years. Say you're 5 years in this industry, next 5 years. What are your goals? Like, where do you think things are going? How do you want to capitalize? Where are they now and where are they going? And what do you want to do to, capitalize off that?
Yeah, so the fitness space the fitness market is different to a lot of other markets in the fact that it all comes down to real estate value. So it's a real estate play, it's not a business play. I mean, the business is so simple. Yeah, if you're on a monthly membership, you get paid 12 times a year. You have high fixed income, high fixed cost, marginal cost of a new person is 0. So it's a very simple business model. The thing that makes gyms unique is you'll locate and you'll be just outside of the hustle and bustle of the city. It's one of the few places that people are still willing to commute to. So people are still very okay with getting in their car and driving 20 minutes to go to the gym. And so landlords love having gyms in the area because they appreciate the real estate value. You'll see a gym pop up and then you'll see a smoothie bar and a coffee place. And before you know it,
You have a whole little area.
yeah, that gym has like increased the value. We were looking at a place actually in Charlotte to expand out to, and the landlord's trying to throw it to us because he knows the value of fitness spaces going in there. The footfall as well, you get a huge footfall. What you find is when gyms lease, they will lock in at a 10-year, and then at the end of the 10 years, they can't afford the lease anymore because the very building that they've increased the value on, they now can't afford the lease at the end of the 10 years. So it all comes down to a real estate play. That's one of the reasons why we exited out the UK. I tried to purchase the real estate, and the landlord wasn't going to let us buy it. So if you can't buy it, then you can't build a long-term asset. So right now I'm working. Well, so I worked in corporate America, and I did that for 5 years, and obviously had an opportunity after Duke to continue to work in corporate America, but I feel like there's much more of an opportunity to help gyms and fitness spaces own their own real estate. And so yes, that's what I'm working towards. A couple of clients that we're working towards on that. Yeah,
That's awesome, Nate. I want to see you stay, man. I think Charleston's the place to be. I think it's obviously different than somewhere like Miami. It's got that Wild West business culture, but there's a lot of money moving here. I think it's if you saddle up and learn the culture a bit, it's going to be a sweet spot to be at. Seaweeds this weekend. Are you going?
I don't know what Seaweed is, and that every single weekend there's a new thing down here.
Ryan, what? It's like a big wildlife exposition. It's awesome. So they have like
It's the Southeastern Wildlife Exposition.
yeah. I haven't been yet. I'm big into hunting and fishing and all that stuff, but it's like all these different places have like galas and auctions on cool hunts, and they have artists being showcased and
Yeah, I'm going to the auction tonight.
yeah, they're like showcasing hunting dogs and equipment. It's really cool. It's like a 3-day thing.
Might buy myself a dog and an African safari.
I'm going,
and then
man.
the wife will leave me.
It's going to be awesome. It's one of the cooler events they have. I haven't gone yet, but I got tickets this weekend. I'm going if you want to go.
Yeah, so I actually drove past the baseball stadium, and I think they've taken over all down by the waterfront, and obviously they're in Hampton Park as well.
Taylor's got good tickets. I think we should go.
I mean, I'll take my dog Porter.
Go a little bit.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
I'll find some stuff to treat.
You got no plans this weekend so far?
I've got no plans, but we can walk the English Cocker Spaniel around. I'm sure he's going to
Absolutely.
feel at home. There's gonna be a load of like gun dogs and Boykins and all that.
Oh,
kind of
really
stuff.
cool. Yeah, the Boykin Spaniel is the official dog of South Carolina too.
Yes.
It's a beautiful dog. I want to get one, Connor.
I think they bred the English Cocker with the English Springer because one of them was better at swimming.
Yeah.
So they're gun dogs. They're bird hunting dogs.
Yeah.
But down here, because you're hunting in lowland,
They need them to be able to swim.
they need them to be able to swim.
Yeah. No,
So-
they're cool dogs. I'm a big bird hunter. I want to check that out. And what's your favorite bar lately? I mean, it always pivots every couple months. What's your favorite bar on King as of late? And the
King.
lines are different now.
Well, now it's heating up. Now it's getting to the summer.
Yeah.
We
What are your favorites? I mean, there's different vibes for different nights, but what are your favorite spots to go to right now?
I like Cocktail Club.
I love Cocktail Club too. That was
I
my
don't.
first
I don't
trip.
like it when it's like really busy and slammed.
I 100% agree. It's like you got to go there on a mediocre night because you don't want it when it's dead,
Yeah.
but you don't want it where it takes 30 minutes to get a friggin' drink.
Yeah, Cocktail Club is really good fun. Felix.
Yeah, Felix is great. The burgers are great there.
Yeah,
It's a
the
good
food's
vibe.
really good.
I've been liking, I don't know, if I want to do like a dive kind of night, I like Burns Alley a lot. It's a lot of fun. I love Burns Alley sometimes.
So Burns Alley is, I think it's the Charleston Rugby.
It's their
bar,
official
isn't it?
bar.
It's one of them that they go to because when our B team played from Charlotte down in here,
Yeah.
and that's where we went and drank.
They also have
afterwards.
some Irish pub in North Charleston that they go to. It's pretty cool too.
Oh yeah, because they play the rugby up there.
Yeah, yeah. I like Burns. I love Henry's. Henry's a lot of fun. Henry's an old bar too. Like you're saying, your grandpa went there. It's really cool. They got music and stuff. But Cocktail Club, I agree, is kind of one of my favorite spots. It's been that way for a while.
Well,
now.
sometimes it's hard to find really good music down here.
Yeah.
I feel like really good people go up to Nashville.
We should have. I think that's a promotion issue because we should have an unbelievable music scene here. Because a lot
There's
of
some
these
good venues. There's a
There,
good
there
venue.
are,
Charleston
and
Music Hall's a great
it comes down to the promoters because, and they, in my opinion, they should be promoting like bluegrass, southern rock, country, and getting all the kind of cutting edge people. Because there's a lot of these artists that are big artists that are really kind of cool and up and comers will play small venues that are kind of niche and cool in certain cities because they got great promoters. We should be nailing that stuff. It's such a cool, fun city for the artists to come to.
Well, you got the Windjammer out.
Windjammer's
in IOP.
fun. I love the Windjammer.
It's got to be one of my favorite bars. The fact that you're just out on the beach
Oh,
listening
it's
to live
great.
music is great.
It's great. I went to one of the theaters off King right by here the other night and saw this band. Gosh, what are they called? They're blowing up right now. A band from Mobile. They were just awesome. Really, really good. It's escaping me, but they were fantastic. Venue was pretty cool too. But yeah, I think they should. Have you been to the Commodore at all?
Yes,
The jazz spot, is that cool?
it's really good.
It's really cool.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
so a couple of the guys and I went up there one night. We had a great time.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's really honestly the Commodore. You from the outside, you wouldn't think much of it.
yeah. Is it like jazz or what's the?
Yeah, it's kind of jazz. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean it was a heavy night, so
Yeah.
I'm just agreeing with you that it was jazz. I just remember it.
Oh,
being
you got a
great
little
night.
boozed up.
Yeah, I got a little bit boozed up. I mean,
That's
it
the other
happens.
great thing about this town. It's socially acceptable to be at a meeting on a Tuesday morning and have Bloody Mary. Welcome to America.
It's a
you know?
big drinking city. I mean, that
Welcome
might,
to Charleston.
yeah, that might be the UK culture coming into Charleston still.
I love it, dude. I love the booze culture here and the food culture. It's awesome. So
Yeah, yeah. So let's go up to Seawee. We can take the dog around.
absolutely. And there's going to be a lot of cool stuff going on at the bars. Dating scene's interesting here too because the one thing I noticed, not only a lot of good looking girls here, but not only that they outnumber us.
Driving hazard around
Well,
here.
well, one of the things about the women, there being so many good-looking women here, is I don't see fights that often. Like if you were in Denver, yes,
Really?
yes. If you were,
I
in,
saw a fight every night. 2020 fall, 2021 spring. On
that
King
was a
Street.
harsh time in our country's history, Ryan. So, but no, generally, I mean, yeah, there's fights, but I'm saying compared to these other bigger cities in the same kind of location, you don't see as many fights because there's so many women.
You think
Guys
that,
are-
you think that's why?
I think that's part of it. Yeah.
I mean, okay. I mean, there's a lot of girls just crying in the streets at the end of the night.
Oh, dude, when you see the what do you call it? The bachelorette parties. I love watching that because you'll see them at the beginning of the night. They're all cheerful and they're getting along, but at the end of the night, they're walking home, they're crying, fighting with each other. One of them's carrying their shoes, walking barefoot. It's
that
a
is,
mess.
that is one of the downfalls of Charleston. The fact that it's a bachelorette town.
It gets annoying. Yeah.
Every single weekend, like April till like June. It's a
Big
nightmare.
wedding destination.
Oh,
town,
we had
sadly.
we were at one of the nightclubs one time. I really didn't want to go this night too, so I was already in a bad mood. And this shyster didn't pay his tab that was with us, and this mess. These girls in their late 30s, just a mess. These girls were a mess. Come up and they're not the most attractive women on earth. Are like mooching off our bottle. We're like, get the fuck out of here, right? And then one of them throws up at our table. They're just repelling all the women that we want to get over. She's throwing up at our table. And I'm getting the bouncer like, get them out of here. Get them out of here. And he's like, come on, man, let her sit down for a second. I ended up, probably shouldn't say this, but I ended up tipping the bouncer to kick them out because it was such a mess. It was like, girls in her, she's probably her third marriage wearing like the bride, like the veil and stuff. And I hate that aspect of things. It's gross.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not trying to be offensive, but it is what it is.
No, I mean, like if you want to, I mean, I kind of live vicariously through the guys, but yeah, if you want to,
not trying to get you in trouble, but
if you want to dip into that dating market, then
what do you think is unique about the dating market here? Just from your opinion, from your friends or experience. What is the?
You're asking the wrong person, but I think the difference. But I mean, you see some of the most beautiful women dating
100%.
the most not beautiful men. Like the disparity between the two.
It's good for the dudes. It's not good for the ladies, right?
Yeah, the disparity between the two is
that
just
old money.
I think it's a demographic thing. There's just more girls here than there are in other cities.
It's that old money.
Denver's the opposite.
Right.
So Denver, they call it Menver. It's the exact opposite. It's great for the ladies, terrible for the men. You got some like blue-haired, angry feminist throwing a drink on you. I mean, it is just slim pickings out there. And the Denver girls are very, their fitness is awesome. Like there's very fit women out there, beautiful fit women and stuff, but they don't really get dolled up as much. You know what I mean? Like they're very, there's a lot of granola. I mean, you got the wooks. They're kind of in their own world. There's a lot of wooks out there.
Mountain people.
Yeah, dirty hippies. Not even mountain people, just like grungy, smelly, dirty. Like they go to every string cheese show they can, drop ass all the time. It's gross. It's gross. But the Denver situation is like they don't dress very feminine a lot of the time. They're very like kind of granola and stuff. It's just not a great place for the dudes. And there's a ton of guys out there, not a lot of girls.
Yeah, so here is totally different.
It's the opposite. Yeah.
Yeah, so Miguel and I went out for a drink last night just for a catch up around 8 o'clock in Phoenix.
Yeah.
And there were 16 women and 3 guys at the bar. That's how stupid it was.
Yeah.
I think everyone wants to be in a healthy relationship, but because the guys have got the pickings here, I think they play games a little bit.
My neighbor, my upstairs neighbor, is a single girl. She described it as a vagilanche, the dating scene.
Oh wow.
That's so good.
Wow.
That's so good.
I mean, you'll be fine. You're what, 6'5" or something? 6'6"?
Yeah, getting there.
I mean, when you got those cowboy boots on, it's not even worth being in a bar.
Yeah. It's an interesting scene here for sure.
Yeah.
What are your favorite restaurants as of late?
I love Lewis Barbecue.
Oh my God, the brisket there.
Ooh, Texas barbecue.
It's Texas, but that brisket
South Carolina barbecue.
That brisket is unbelievable, though.
Oh, it's incredible, but it's Texas barbecue.
It is technically a Texas barbecue joint.
And the mac and cheese there is really good.
Yeah.
Obviously Jesse's joint 167.
Oh, 167 is so good. So good.
And I really like the 167 sushi. That's really good.
Yeah. No, the 167 guys are. I think out of Jesse's group, I've known him from a long time. He's originally from Nantucket and has been in food and bev forever. And my brother originally worked for him when he was doing catering. He built this thing. His dad ran this fish market. He's got an amazing story. Him and his family story is really amazing. But really built these operations from the ground up, and just amazing what they've done. But I think you're going to see he's like David Chang. A couple years from now, he's going to be a very well-known as he wants to be. Already he's kind of getting there. You're going to see a lot of offshoots, too. They got a lot of great talent there. I mean, the Momofuku guy, the dessert chick, was the one that started what's the milk place, the shake place?
I'm not sure.
One of the chicks who ran desserts for the David Chang and his group started one of the biggest like dessert franchises, like milkshake franchises, high-end kind of dessert stuff in New York and some of these other cities. So I think you'll see some offshoots from some of the.
Ryan, were you around? Were you around when Jesse did the tuna that Seamus caught?
Oh, just incredible!
Oh, that's a good story.
I hate fish. I hate fish. I grew up on the water, never ate fish.
That tuna was unbelievable.
I come here and I go to 167 and I eat the fish. Let me just put it that way. I order the fish. I eat that fish.
Oh, Ryan, I'm not too sure if you're around with the story where Seamus is out on the boat up in Nantucket. He catches this, what was it, 120-pound tuna?
120-pound tuna, yeah.
I saw him haul that thing in.
Yeah.
Big bluefin.
Yeah, and then he put it in a plane, drove it to Charleston.
We had to get like a special like fish cooler for this thing. Barely fit it on the plane, get it in that day. And I go to Jesse, I'm like, hey, if I give you half that you sell, which they'll make a couple grand off, easy, fresh catch, A lot of really quality bluefin meat. The sushi guy at 167 was like, this is the best fish I've seen in Charleston.
Seamus caught it too.
And
Seamus
caught him. And I go, if we give you half, will you prepare the rest of this in the sushi so we can throw a sushi party? We had like 20 people to that. It's awesome.
Even then, there was
Devoured
sushi
it.
left over.
There was a little bit left over. Yeah, there was some of the other stuff was left over.
Yeah, you were giving it away.
Plates at Toro. That was great.
Yeah. So yeah, 167. That's a really good spot.
Yeah.
And then I love Indako.
Daco's great.
Have you been into Indako for the brunch on Sundays?
No, they do a brunch there.
They do a breakfast pizza, which if you
Really?
had a couple of whiskeys the night before, breakfast pizza's great.
That sounds awesome.
But they do like an eggs and purgatory, and the brunch is probably better than the dinner.
Have you been to Southbound yet?
I've not been.
Very good. Very good.
You
Recommend.
always go.
I love Tyler showed me this place. Unbelievable.
Maybe we go there tonight.
Highly recommend.
It's all wood burning. They don't have stoves, so it's all wood burning fires they cook everything on. We should go there tonight. It's one of my favorite places. Wood burning fires. They're constantly changing the menu. It's this beautiful old house that the cocktails are fantastic. The wine selection is fantastic. Great service. Aesthetics awesome. Very Charleston feeling.
And then
place.
obviously home team. The wings are great, but those game changers.
Well, home team, interestingly enough, has a location in Aspen too.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
They're. I like Lewis a little bit better for the barbecue, but
Yeah.
but home team has a better environment.
Yeah. And the one in Aspen's kind of out.
The one in Aspen's not as good. The home team here is like the environment on like college game day and getting hammered off those game changers. Nothing like it. It's awesome.
So Ryan, this is another funny story. We were in. I don't think Seamus had ever had a game changer that was topped up. What are they called? Floater.
Yeah, we had some floaters on the game changers.
So we sat there and I was like, "Hey, Shamo, just be careful because these things are pretty strong."
It's the drunkest I've been in 10 years.
And I did 2 game changers, and I was looking at 2 Seamuses at the time, and everyone was out there. And Seamus had 4 game changers
With floaters.
with floaters, and turned around to me and was like, "I don't know what you're talking about. These things aren't that strong." And then we did the check, and then we stood up to leave, and Seamus just fell over.
That was the drunk. Did we go to a concert that night? Was that when we went to the Windjammer?
We went to the Windjammer. Yeah.
I was so drunk that night. That was the drunkest I've been in Charleston.
Yeah, you had nothing else to drink that.
Oh my God, that was brutal.
That was hilarious.
That was very brutal.
Yeah, those game changers will get you.
This is at home team.
Home team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we got to get you. I got to get now that you're an American. I got to get you hunting this year.
I was going to ask about the hunting scene in England. They have a very
They have like a proper bird hunting scene, but I want to get you to shoot some turkey on some plantations this year.
My brother-in-law Matt, he's a great guy.
Yeah.
Matt, his family own a pheasant farm, so they breed pheasants ready for. I don't know if they hunt them. I'm not too sure, but yeah, my dad's into clay pigeon shooting.
They do tower shoots over there in England too.
Yeah.
Tower shoot, is that where you're up in a tower and
Yeah, they release the pheasants.
They release the pheasants. They do grouse hunting there. I'm dying to go. I got some friends that invited me to go to Scotland for a grouse or pheasant hunt out there, and I love it. They get all filsoned up. It's really cool.
so
Well,
one
they
of
get the Tweed.
This is a great story. One of my old friends was a sniper in the British military, and so he has a very rare license where he's allowed a rifle, but you're not allowed to shoot the deer. So in the Second World War, so basically these lords used to breed the deer out. So the deer have unbelievable antlers in the UK. They're bred like that. But in the Second World War, people were going hungry, so they broke into the manor houses, and the deer escaped. So now there's deer just going all around the national park. I mean, they're everywhere. Beautiful deer. And you can't hunt them, but they get hit by cars. And because so when you got a deer that's like dying out, the police don't have guns. They can't put the deer out of the misery.
They just beat it with batons.
Yeah, they just beat it with batons or taser or something. So they call up this guy who has a rifle license, and he comes down and puts the deer out of misery. And then he's got a little mini, and they put the deer in the back of his mini, take it
Good Lord.
take it home and cut it up for meat. And so he put the carcass in one of the dustbins.
Yeah.
Is what you call it? Trash can, whatever.
Yeah.
And so the trash guys come over and they empty out this bin, and out just comes this carcass, and the police get called because the trash people think it's like
A person.
they think it's a person. So yeah, that's about as close we get to hunting. Like if you run it over, you might be able to keep it.
There's still some old like bougie hunting clubs in Scotland and Northern England, but they're very hard to get access to.
Fox hunting.
Fox hunting. Yeah.
Well, that got banned. But
I was about to say it got banned. Sadly.
Yeah, it got banned. Yeah, they used to get hounds out to try and hunt foxes.
Need to get that savage back in the Anglosphere. You know what I mean? They need to bring back the someone should run on that. Boris Johnson's run on bringing back the fox hunts. You know.
I don't think it's gonna go.
What?
I don't think it's gonna fly.
No, probably not.
No, people are very like anti-hunting, anti kind of fur. You're not allowed to take fur back into the UK. One of those jackets I got in Aspen, you can't. I wouldn't be allowed to take that back home.
Such a shame.
Well, it doesn't really get cold enough for it either. It doesn't really get cold. I
Just
get,
lie, but it gets fake fur. I don't know.
Yeah, I only wear it for 2 weeks here anyway, so it's not. I don't know even why I got it, but
That's a great jacket, by the way.
it is a great jacket.
What do you you think with some of the money coming in here and some of the shifts, like do you think some of the clothes shopping, fashion stuff's going to get more sophisticated here? Or?
Yeah, I do, and I think there's I see a lot of guys getting more and more into like fashion, skincare, trying to look good. So I feel like, I mean, you got State of Liberty that just opened up down the road.
Yeah,
they do great suits. What's the place that you got your blazers custom?
Grady Irvin? No, not Grady Irvin.
Grady
Jordan
Irvin's
Lash.
great.
Jordan Lash. I
Lash.
love Grady Irvin too. I did get some stuff with Grady Irvin. Grady Irvin is very cool. I love those guys. They're awesome. Jordan Lash is cool too. Jordan Lash is like got a very kind of fun variety of stuff. I got that suit or the sports jacket tailored there. It's awesome.
Oh, that
The purple one?
Yeah, that purple one.
Yeah, I'll have to wear that on the next show.
Yeah, you should. And isn't that the one that you got summer that doesn't have any lining in it?
Yeah,
Yeah, you can wear that. Yeah, you can wear that out this weekend.
absolutely.
That'll look good at Seawee.
Yeah. Anyway, man, this has been fun, dude.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming on. And where can people hear more about some of your projects or where you're working on?
Do you know what? Absolutely nowhere.
No.
No, I'm not on social media.
Why are you off social media?
So obviously I was on social media, and I had a bunch of social media accounts when we had the businesses. And from one side of the social media, I realized that I was trying to buy people's attention and get them to, I'd have them obviously try and buy it as a lead generation tool. And then when I exited, I realized I was just consuming social media, and
It's addicting. Yeah.
it just wasn't good.
It's a waste of time.
It just wasn't good. And I was on social media up until June last year when I got the Defender. So the biggest turning point for me was I went out, I spent like $110,000 on a car, bought a beautiful Defender, unbelievable V8, looked amazing. And I went home and typed in Defender into my social media, and up came all these mods for these Defenders. And I remember thinking to myself, "Oh God, my car's not good enough. This isn't good. I need to
They manipulate you. They
manipulate you.
psychologically manipulate you. It's terrible.
And I just had this like moment in my head of like, what am I doing? I'm completely comparing myself to other people. So
Canned it.
I went off of it. The first week is weird because when you're bored and you're just sitting
Look at
there,
those dopamine hits.
yeah, you just kind of feel like you want to scroll. But yeah, I would never go back on it.
I agree, dude. Like, I have it, but the positive parts of social media and the new media kind of revolution, I think, are podcasts, videos, stuff you can learn from the new entertainment space. But the scrolling stuff, the ego stuff on Instagram is terrible. I think it's awful.
The good thing
Better off without it.
The good thing that I found being off of it is I have no idea what you're doing. I have no idea what anyone's doing. So I call my friends up a lot more. And not knowing what people are doing, it kind of brings more of a conversation out. It's difficult because you don't feel like, I'll tell you what it's not great for. I miss not being able to keep up to date with like local businesses, or not knowing what's going on in the city, or not knowing where there's, new restaurants popping up or that kind of stuff. But I think the pros outweigh the cons. And
I agree.
I think more and more people are coming off of it, to be honest.
I hope so. I mean, I think it's been, people just get manipulated, emotionally manipulated by it,
And I think you got to be careful what you post as well, because it's going to come back to bite you.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure I'm going to get some stuff come back to bite me, right?
What, on your social media?
Oh, 100%, dude. I don't know. Everyone has that, right? I'm not saying it like that. I'm saying like it's just it's not a good thing. They're playing people, manipulating people.
You think your video from Cloud9 is going to come back and bite you?
No, I think it's a cool video. I own it. I stand by that night or that day on the mountain. It was fun.
Yeah, no, I think it'd be fine. I don't think you got anything too bad on there.
No, hopefully not. Anyway, man, this has been awesome, Nate. Thanks for coming on. I guess you can't find him because he's a ghost. So
Complete ghost, yeah.
he's a complete ghost,
You
and
can
this is
send
his
us-
only appearance.
Send a smoke signal up. And
Maybe
I'll,
we'll convince him to stay in Charleston, and he'll come on again.
Yeah, let's do it.
Thanks again, dude.
All right, thanks.
Thanks, dude. That was awesome.